Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome. This is Show Me the Market, and my name is Abdurrahman Gaddafi Yassin. Today is a part 2 of communication, branding, and marketing from where we left from the other part. And today we are going to continue to try to understand more about the branding, communication, and marketing. My guest in studio today is Umi Wabomba, leading director at Kijani Communication. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Umi?
Alhamdulillah.
I would like today we continue from where we stopped the other time, and today I want us to start from the components of a strong brand.
Yes.
What are they?
I think every strong brand, there are things we call must-haves, they're must-haves. So in the earlier episode, we spoke about having a logo, having the right colors, having any imagery that would support your brand depending on the sector of the business that you're in. Remember, we spoke about the psychology of colors. Use the right colors in your sector. So that's just the beginning. But what we normally help companies to put together in terms of components of a strong brand is what we call a brand manual or a brand guideline or a brand book. And what are the things that you must have in that brand manual or guidebook or whatever you call it. So one is the logo with the right colors, with the right fonts, with the right imagery. Then once you have your logo, then now you apply it across the various communication touch points. So all your stationery, you should have a way that you present your stationery. So if you have your business cards, you have your letterheads, you have your PowerPoint template, you have your email signature, all of them should be designed to be within your brand guideline. Why? So that you guide your staff to use the right, you remember we spoke about consistency and uniformity in the last episode. Yes. They will not be consistent and uniform if you have not guided them. So you have all your stationery, this is how we are going to do it. And actually another thing we call it is the logo or the brand do's and don'ts. Yeah. So within your brand manual, you'll say we don't do this to our brand and we do this to our brand.
Yes.
So, for example, a brand don't is don't introduce a new color. Don't introduce a new font. I have worked in the corporate sector and it's a nightmare of anyone in marketing. People squeeze and do all kinds of things to the logo. Yeah, they're doing copy paste. They're doing some presentation. Instead of coming and saying, I'm not very sure, or maybe the communication person has not shared the official brand template. So people are creating all kinds of brands within the same organization. So the brand manual will give the do's and don'ts. It will have our stationery. This is how we all use our stationery.
Yes.
Our marketing items. This is how all our marketing items will look like. Our signage around the offices. I'm at Horizon today. There must be a way that Horizon TV is presented. When I walk in, there should be that consistency. Whether it's the signage on the door, whether it's a roll-up banner that has been done at some function. So signage is equally important. Any merchandise that you do, you have to have guidelines. We have this nightmare, for example, when people are going to print. There's what we call the color pantones, your colors.
Yes.
You must have them somewhere so that when you're printing anything, unapatia your printer. If they bring you anything outside that color, you can reject. But how will you reject something you've not given them a guideline? So that's part of the brand components. And I think onto that, once you have your brand components together, it creates the uniformity and consistency that we spoke about. And with time, the consistency and uniformity will create a powerful brand or a strong brand. And there are benefits of having a strong brand.
And that leads us to the next question.
Yes.
Why is it that strong brands matter?
Strong brands matter because they have so many advantages. Let me go to my world global brand and my local Safaricom.
Yes.
Apple.
Yes.
All Apple users know it's an association. It's a feel good. It's a status symbol.
It's a class.
It's a class of their own.
Yeah.
Why? Because Apple has positioned itself like we are better than everyone else. So strong brands create what we call loyalty. That's why people sleep outside Apple for the next phone. That is loyalty. That's something money can't buy.
Wait for 16.
Now that's number one, loyalty, a strong brand. Number two, when you're a strong brand, you can charge premium rates. Apple is not cheap. And there are people who will do anything. Hata mtu atachukua loan to buy the next Apple phone.
Yes.
So Apple makes more money because they're a strong brand. So there's loyalty. Then they charge premium prices, high prices, and they have clients who will do anything to buy. Number 3, you dwarf out competition. They can't match you, so they stay huko nyuma while you own the market. So you have a bigger market share. And that I can use Apple products or I can use locally Safaricom.
You mentioning Apple product, you know that some people who are in the same market,
yes,
but they try to copy even the style of that phone.
That's what yes, that's what I was going to say. Strong brands, yes, you actually copied. And there's nothing wrong with being copied because you're doing a good thing. Okay. So when you're a strong brand, you dwarf out the competition, but people want to copy you. If I can use, I think it used to be Sony or something. You know, these electronics. You'll have someone called Sony. You know, they add an N or a Y. Yeah. Before you realize it's not Sony, you've already bought. Even locally, I can use this local, the people who travel up country. There are some brands that are well known. Ukienda huko chini Afya Center, someone will come dressed in a jacket of a competing company so that they fool you. But once you enter the shuttle, you realize, no, that's not the shuttle. So strong brands, you charge premium prices, you create loyalty, you have a bigger market share, you actually kill competition. Okay. They can actually not match up. And then at the end of the day, there's something we call brand equity. You gain brand equity. Brand equity means if I can use locally Safaricom, if they walked into any bank and say they want a loan, the bank will follow by itself because this is Safaricom. Because of the brand perception and the success they have had in the market, everyone wants to be associated with them. So those are very good reasons to have, why not create a strong brand?
Yes, Umi, thank you so much for that explanation why strong brands matters. But maybe, you know, in the industry, there are some people in the same communication or in the same business. For you maybe to have these different when it comes to matters of the brand and everything, what are some of the things to consider maybe?
I think branding and differentiation just go hand in hand.
Okay.
Because you are known as a brand because you're different from the next brand. Yeah. So you cannot, you differentiate yourself. First, the usual, what we said earlier, the colors, the logo, and everything. But there's something called what I referred to earlier, the connection with your target audience. The experience will differentiate you from the next competing brand. You can differentiate yourself even through pricing. You don't have to serve everyone. Who is your target audience? Then you price yourself accordingly. So if you are a mass market product, you are selling FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, we unauza mkate, maziwa, na what? Sukari. You have to package yourself to suit the market that you're targeting. So if I can use an example of a brand that has differentiated itself, I can actually use what we call the main brand or the mother brand, which is like Safaricom. And then within Safaricom, we have these mini brands. We have M-Pesa. You know, M-Pesa is a brand on its own. When we go into the surveys that do the most popular brands in Kenya or the most powerful brands, Safaricom competes with M-Pesa.
Okay.
Wanashindana hivi, up, down, up, down. Why? Because M-Pesa has stood on its own as a brand. Okay. So what services does M-Pesa offer? They differentiate themselves from what Bonga Point does. It differentiates itself from the Safaricom Fiber, which is like for home, whether it's for home or for business. So you have to differentiate yourself with your product offering. Number 2, who is your target audience? Number 3, what is the price of your product? All those things will affect how your brand is perceived. I mentioned earlier, sorry, I'm using Safaricom because we're in the branding business and it's one of the top brands. When you use that example, most people relate to it. If Safaricom is going to hold a golf tournament, because I want you to see the differentiation, what it means. If Safaricom is going to hold a golf tournament for its high-end clients, how you are postpaid, data see prepaid. If you look at how they package Safaricom for that clientele, it's very different from when they're doing the caravans ya kwenda Bungoma na Kisii.
Yes.
How they package the golf tournament. And those days when the late Bob Collymore was still here, when they used to do their jazz festivals and everything. even the colors, they go a bit off the green and they use more of the dark and gray and black, because that's high end, premium. Yes. It's not too loud, because you're going for golf and everything.
It's calm.
Then when they're going to do
they shout.
The t-shirts, the t-shirts nizo za kura, you know, the round necks, very bad quality. Wanaenda wanazirusha hivi in a marketplace. And those people appreciate those t-shirts. So it's the same brand, but differentiating itself depending on who they're targeting. So you can actually differentiate within the same brand, or you can differentiate yourself across different brands. If I use, for example, banking, the banking sector, we have the Islamic banks, which are the core audience, or the core market is the Muslims, but there are also non-Muslims in those banks. But we have the other conventional banks, and they'll use, for example, Equity. How has it positioned itself? It has positioned itself as the bank for the people who had been forgotten out of banking, and they came and they revolutionized banking. So it's your service offering, it's your pricing, and it's your target that will differentiate your brand
with others.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, you've mentioned something about the times, the moment they're going to meet their clientele. It depends with whom you're going to meet, and it's how you present yourself. That takes me back to our previous episode that we spoke about how whenever you enter a room, the first thing that I'll see out of you, I can judge you, and I can say this person looks like he's calm, looks like he's naughty.
They say the first impression is the only impression. If anything, you'll always have to rectify your first impression.
Not the last one.
No. When you walk in, that's the first impression, and mostly it's the last impression.
Yes.
Otherwise, you spend the rest of your life defending your impression. So what we advise brands to do, especially when you're starting out as an SME, start right. Yes, it might be costly. You might not even understand what those logo things and everything. But if you start right, within no time, perception of your brand will start showing. And as I told you, branding is not about a one-off, one-day job. You think about 5 years from now, where do I want to be? 10 years from now, where I want to be? And within those 5 to 10 years, you'll start reaping the benefits of branding. If we look at all these successful companies, it has taken time for them to be where they are. The ones who are lucky were the likes of the ones in the telecommunications business, the likes of Apple. Technology just pushed them to grow so fast. But there are other brands that really take time. We say trust the process, but eventually the value will be, you'll feel the value and the benefits of a strong brand in the long run.
Later. Okay, thank you so much, Umi, for that point. We have to take a short break. When we get right back, we're going to discuss more about to know how can you measure to know that this brand is doing so well in the market. I'm taking a short break. When we get right back, we're going to discuss more. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. This is Show Me the Market, and thank you so much for staying with Horizon TV. Our topic of discussion today is communication and branding. And before that, I was planning to ask Umi about how can you measure the success of a brand in the field or in the area that your expertise is in it. Yes, Umi.
Gaddafi, first things first. A strong brand just brings money in the bank.
Yes. If
there's money in the account, that means that there's a strong brand out there and people are appreciating your services and products. So the first issue that shows that there's a strong brand is that you're actually getting high returns on your investment. So there's money in the bank, whether it's a service or a product. Number two, if you want to measure if your brand is successful, is what we call a brand audit or brand research. What we mean by a brand audit is you can actually go out and on your target audience or clientele and run surveys, you know, and ask, what do you think about this brand? What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? Where can we improve? What do you like about us? What don't you like about us? So you can actually do those surveys in your target market and get that feedback. If it's on the good side, then you know you're doing well. If it's on the downside, then you know where to improve. Then number 3, look at, in this age of social media and online marketing and digital communication and all, look at the numbers. The analytics never lie. So if your page, for example, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or on TikTok or YouTube or whichever platform you're on, when you started maybe your branding exercise, you were at, say, 5,000 followers or subscribers, and now you're at 10,000, or now at your 50,000, or you've hit the 1 million, then that shows growth. So that's an automatic way of knowing that your brand is actually doing a good job. Then number 3, if you're within the feedback you receive from your audience, you're able to introduce new products, you'll get feedback. So it's almost like you keep getting feedback. Why don't you do this? Why don't you introduce this? Why don't you do this? It means you're doing so well with what you're doing. Now people want you to do more.
The additional.
So a strong brand measuring involves going out there. Money in the bank is first. Then number 2, you do your brand audits. Look at your analytics if you're doing social media. Look at the customers literally. There's some brands, if you're in the restaurant business, just check out lunchtime. What happens during lunch hour? What are your peak times? What is your most fast moving menu item? Because you also have to look at in what sector are you in. If you're in the restaurant business, look at which days of the week, which time of the day, which menu, which menu seems to move very fast. If you're in the service industry, for example, you're an airline, or you're in the airline or banking, yeah, look at which is the product that maybe has the highest deposits. If you're in the bank, if you're an airline, which flight seems to be the most popular? It's always booked and full. So you have to actually literally look at every day of the business and see where the touch points are. But the biggest of them all is perception. So what are people saying about you? And that involves a lot of, as I said, either you do surveys. In the age of social media, people like in our Kenyan market, they don't mince their words. People are happy with you, they'll say it. They're not happy, they'll say it even louder.
Don't sugarcoat.
No. So look at what people are saying about your brand on the various communication touch points, and you'll be able to judge if you're doing a good job.
Yes, thank you so much, Obi, for that. And you know, some people, they're planning maybe to refresh their brands, and they wanted to make it to be a better brand in future. Maybe what are some, you being in this industry, helping others to make their brand to become a better brand, what are some of the advices that you can give it out there so that someone who wants to refresh, someone who wants maybe to start, they can pick it from?
I think what I said earlier about having a brand audit is extremely important. And I know for the SMEs and businesses that are just starting, or maybe have been around for, say, 5 to 10 years, a brand audit might be expensive. There's something we do in branding, because branding is also for persons. It's not just for companies. There's something we call personal branding. We are doing a personal branding. There's a test we do called a self-awareness test. Self-awareness test is you ask, you remember what we said about the perceptions people talk about when you're not in the room? So you can also do something similar for your business. So you would ask an example, you want to rebrand, or you want to relaunch, or you want to change something, but you're not sure what. So you want people to help you to change. So ask very focused questions. So if you're doing a survey among your target clients, you can even just go on the street and ask random people. You can ask, what is it that you like about me? What is it that you like about this brand that we can do, that we can improve on? What is it that you don't like about this brand? And then what are the things that you think we can add to our brand? So as the audience answers those questions, then they'll be able to guide you that, oh, maybe they like our colors, maybe they don't like. You remember what I said about a brand personality?
Yes.
Are we energetic? Do they see us as energetic? If they don't see us as energetic, what do we do so that we become more energetic? So rebranding cannot be something you sit in the office and decide, now we want to rebrand. You go out to your audience, ask questions, let them give you the feedback. Then based on the feedback, then you are able to rebrand accordingly. Because we've also had people, big companies that have had big misses, you know? You're already a strong brand, then you decide, you know, they say if it's not broken, don't fix it. So you're doing very well, then you decide, no, we want to rebrand, and you get a total miss. Why? You didn't bother to ask. Because if it's working, I can use one example if you allow me. There is this local brand, this one I'll mention it. Mafuta ya ng'ombe. It was introduced for cows, but it became very successful for other users. People use it on their skin, and they tried to rebrand, and they got very negative feedback. They were told, what's your problem? We are happy with who you are, remain as you are. And they actually stopped the branding exercise. They wanted to change, but their target audience told them, you don't need to change, we are happy. Tuko sawa. Why are you changing? So for you to rebrand, ask the people that you're serving, do they see the need to brand? If they say yes, then do it. If not, if it's not fixed, don't incur extra costs. Just go on with what you're doing. One of the brands that has never changed so many years and people always wonder why is the Big Pen. It's been there forever. And they're not in a hurry to change because the clients are happy.
Yes, we're moving forward. You know, sometimes you have to be considerate when maybe choosing a job that you want maybe to help them in terms of branding and everything. Maybe what are the ethical considerations that you personally incurs or look upon before you help someone to create a brand, before you help someone to become better in their marketing strategy and also in the marketing digital?
Thank you so much. I think that's one of the most important questions. Kijani Communications, when we positioned ourselves as a brand, is we started with, I hope we'll change that soon. We said the first Sharia compliant communications company. We are very intentional that we are not going to offer services to just anyone, to just any business. It's not business for the sake of it. We have some values. So we want to move from Sharia compliant to even ethical, because we've had people who are not necessarily in the Sharia compliant space, but they're doing ethical business. They're serving humanity. So we only do business with those who are adding value to society. If any business is first not allowed in Islam, we don't. However good the money, we don't. So you're in the alcohol business, you're in the gambling business, you're in the cigarette business, we don't. We just decline, however nice the budget would be. That's very intentional. So as Muslims, business is part of ibadah. So we are not doing business for the sake of it. So we actually decline some very nice looking proposals because the values are not in line with what we do. And I encourage all of us, whether you're in the small business sector or in the big business, at the end of the day, we're going to be ultimately we're going to be answerable to Allah. So we decline. We only support businesses that are ethical. Businesses are for the social good. And in fact, our slogan at Kijani is promoting good. Promoting good. It's not business for the sake of it.
It's all about halal.
Partly is halal, yes, because as I said, we are also doing ethical. So there are some businesses that are not, they don't need to have the halal tag, but they're ethical businesses. They're adding value to society. They're not Muslim-run businesses. They don't follow the Islamic principles, but they're ethical. Ethical means what? Their products and services are not detrimental to society. You're not selling something that is causing harm. Yes.
I think that is well noted down. And before that, you know, we've met with different people that maybe they complain to you, this is where I made this mistake and how can I rectify this? Maybe what are some of the common challenges that business people, they face when it comes to matters of branding?
One of the biggest challenges, as I said, branding is a concept that most people really don't understand. So if someone wants to con you, they'll come with very flowery language. You know, I'm going to help you set up your brand, blah, blah, blah. And they'll just go down here on River Road, do some funny looking logo and bring to you. They don't have the color code. So when you're starting to print your business cards, you realize something is off. The colors are not consistent. When you ask this person, they don't seem to know what they're doing. So one of the biggest challenges, especially with the SMEs, that they don't know about what branding is. So they don't ask the right questions. When a service provider comes in and says, I want to develop your brand, they're not yet aware of the questions to ask. And many have lost money. They've spent, you know, in small business, you spend 20,000, 30,000. That's a lot of money for you to develop a brand. Then the guy comes first he disappears, he can't be reached, and then he brings something that you don't understand. Remember what I said earlier, branding is the end product. When you're starting, people really don't know what you're talking about. But at the end, when you now deliver the whole package, most clients get very happy. So most are conned because of ignorance, because of not knowing what the process entails. And from our side, those who are service providers, we are also guilty. Some of us go saying very nice things, yet we can't deliver. So I advise the SMEs, please, when you're seeking branding, try and get an expert in the field. And if you don't know, you're better off saying you don't know and I want to know the process. The other part from the business owners or the business practitioners, if you don't know, just accept you don't know. Usikue mjuaji. Because there's some who are wajuaji and you burn your fingers. So the biggest issue has been branding is not very well understood, that those who have taken advantage of SMEs, there have also been SMEs who are not willing to ask the right questions. So I request that we meet at a common point. When I come with my services, let me be credible. Let me explain to the client the scope of the business and how we are going to offer the service and the benefits of why they're doing the branding. And then from the business owner, please be willing to give a chance to the expert. Because one of the other challenges is, what wataki kuambiwa? I want my colors red. And I'm telling you, it's the wrong sector. You can't use this color, but they don't want to listen.
That's my favorite color. I want to use it and everything. And I know time is not on our side, but maybe what are some of the emerging trends, maybe that in this field of communication, branding, and marketing, that you can advise maybe each and every person to consider when it comes to matters of branding?
I think we can't run away from the big elephant in the room, AI. There's artificial intelligence, and it has come in, I don't know, the Internet of Things. So we have to see how to incorporate the emerging trends into our branding story. Yeah? The basics of a brand will never change. You have to get it right. Who are you speaking to? What are your colors? What is your service delivery? And what's the experience? But you can make that experience better, faster, cheaper, affordable by using technology. So if I can use an example, right now, in the advertising world, where an advertising agency would ask for $1 million+ shillings for an audition to bring in, people cast for auditioning. Squeeze it, they go, they get AI. The same job is done in a few minutes and they achieve the goal. So AI and the emerging features of technology that can add value to branding, we don't need to shy away from them, but we can see how best to use them. So AI is one. I don't know, the Internet of Things, the issue of virtual versus physical. Yeah, in the older way of doing things, you had to have a physical meeting and all that, but now you can do everything virtually. So we have to incorporate issues of technology that are adding value to the whole process to make it cheaper. So for me, for example, if I'm an SME, I don't need to incur very huge rent costs by having some fancy looking office. When I can turn my home, one of the rooms or a space within the living room, into my office. Because most of the work that we do entails meetings, meeting clients, and delivering. It's not so much the showiness of how big or whatever. So SMEs, for example, you can cut down on lots of costs, incorporate the digital technology that has come in, use more virtual instead of physical, unless it has to be physical, depending on the type of business that you're in, and keep learning. I tell people there's a whole sector online called how to. How to. So don't shy away from technology. Learn on how best you can run your business in the most affordable way possible. Make yourself accessible. In fact, one of the things we've been warned against is there's nothing as bad as not having a digital footprint. Nowadays when you're pitching for a job, someone will quickly go and say, who is Gaddafi? Afadhali upatikane Gaddafi in some interesting ways than no Gaddafi at all.
In social media platforms.
So you have to find a way of being digitally present so that when people look for you, they can find you.
Wow, that's nice. Because time is not on our side, I'll ask you the last question, which is looking ahead. Where do you see the future of branding?
I think, as I said, the technology world is actually taking us by storm.
Yeah.
We can't even visualize you're saying 5 years?
Yes.
Can't even visualize by the end of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, what AI is doing.
Yes.
And I mean, you've seen the TikTok videos and everything. We have newsrooms that are now, someone can create a whole newsroom without a human being.
Yes.
So technology is moving so fast. So we have to try and keep the pace. Yeah, learn from it, not shy away from it. It's adding a lot of value, but as I say, technology is a double-edged sword. Be very careful how you present yourself, how you package yourself, because the same social media that can give you 1 million followers can kill your brand in one day. Why can they kill your brand? The experience. If the customer, you can look as fancy as everyone, but if you have the wrong the customer having the wrong experience and they do a viral video,
that's the end of it.
Can kill your brand. So we have to be aware of the challenges that are surrounding branding and prepare for them, anticipate them, but enjoy the ride while at it. Let's not be too constructive, too constrictive. It's too, like I'll do the wrong thing, I'll do the wrong thing.
Okay.
No, just enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Umi, for that explanation about branding and communication. And I hope you at home as well has consumed a lot about understanding the communication and branding as well. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much, Umi, also for joining us and also enlightening us about these stuff.
Thank you for
I
the
personally have learned a lot about branding, and I feel like everyone should be a brand. And it should be a positive thing that you have. And the moment you mentioned about whenever you're speaking with your clients, you tell them the truth and everything, it reminded me that even in Islam, when you're doing business with someone, whenever there is that openness and speaking about the truth and everything, Allah puts barakah in your business. Exactly. And in whatever thing that you're doing, Umi, may Allah put barakah in it, inshallah. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Umi, for coming. Till next time, same place, same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.